Welcome back to the Indiana Lawyer Podcast. I'm your host, Maura Johnson. In today's episode, I'm bringing you a conversation from the Indianapolis Business Journal's Mason King, who sat down with immigration attorney Jason Flora earlier this summer to learn more about the mission behind his law firm, the Flora Legal Group. Back in May, the Flora Legal Group ranked number 3 on the Indianapolis Business Journal's list of the region's fastest-growing companies based on the law firm's 2-year growth, which jumped 250%. The firm has 23 attorneys among nearly 140 full-time employees who handle thousands of cases each year. Despite this rapid growth, the mission of Flora Legal Group has stayed the same, protecting the rights of immigrants and offering them the legal services they need. In this episode, you'll hear more about Flora's evolution from street lawyer to law firm owner and how he prioritizes such significant growth. But before we get into the episode, let's hear from our sponsor, Taft.
Taft, today's modern law firm. At Taft, we cultivate a highly respectful, transparent workplace that fosters creativity, teamwork, inclusion, and diversity. We couple our culture with a client-first approach, rewarding lawyers who understand their clients' goals and work to deliver success. Taft, the modern law firm. To learn more, visit taftlaw.com.
It's my pleasure to welcome to the podcast Jason Flora, owner and CEO of Flora Legal Group. Thanks for making time to come to the studio.
Mason, thanks. It's great to be here.
So I'm going to jump to the middle of your story.
Okay.
It is 2009. You have just graduated from IU Robert McKinney's School of Law with your law degree. In addition, you have just earned an MBA from IU Kelley School of Business. Am I correct so far?
You're correct so far.
Okay. What was going on with your family at that time?
Wow. So my first son, Elias, had just been born in May of 2009. And I had the bar exam looming over me. And if you don't pass the bar exam, it's like, hey, thanks for coming to law school. You can't be a lawyer. And so I had a new baby boy to feed.
Right.
He was born with hemophilia, a blood clotting disorder. So I really needed a job and I really needed health insurance. So I was looking. I wasn't finding gainful employment. Nobody wanted to really interview me. And so,
you were looking?
Oh, I was looking. I wasn't finding.
Okay.
And so I did pass the bar. I made the decision to open a firm. I've been in association all through law school with Bob Epstein. He was a great mentor to me, helped me get started with my own firm here in the west side of Indianapolis. And so we hung out a shingle, Jason Flora, abogado, Spanish for lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And we intentionally put it along West Washington, that corridor where you have the Mexican car lots and the Honduran, restaurants and Guatemalan groceries. And we said, those are the folks that I want to help.
So knowing what I knew before, if you had asked me, where do you think this guy's headed? I would have been like, oh, he's going to one of the big firms, do business law.
Oh,
maybe contracts law, maybe mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah.
But your heart really was in a totally different area.
I went to law school to do human rights law.
Okay.
I didn't go to law school to go do corporate law. Now at the time I thought, well, maybe I'll go do a little bit of business and corporate law for a few years, pay off my loans, and then I'll go help people after that.
Right.
But those folks wouldn't even talk to me. So maybe they could sniff, where I really wanted to be. But
yeah.
So yeah, it was, I want to help immigrants. And as a Spanish speaker, I wanted to help people that speak Spanish. And that's what I set out to do.
Wow. What was the address?
549 South Fleming Street. So it's the 4400 block west along Washington Street.
And again, so you're close to car lots, you're close to restaurants.
Oh, everything. Car lots, restaurants, all kinds of Latino-owned businesses out there.
How big was the building?
The building was actually touching a dentist's office. And it was Bob Epstein's cousin, who was the former dentist there. His widow owned the building. So we had initially 750 square feet. There's a middle space in between that and the dentist's office. And after a couple of years, we grabbed an additional 750 square feet. And we expanded.
Okay. Yeah. So it was you and Bob.
So Bob was downtown here at 50 South Meridian. So Bob gave me at that time an unimaginable amount of money for me, it was $10,000. He loaned me to start the law firm. And so he was a mentor, but he was in a separate physical space downtown here.
Okay. And so it's just your name on
it was just me down at that building on West Washington.
Okay. So this was just a one-man practice.
It's a one-man practice.
Okay.
Yes.
But he kind of fronted you.
He did.
You needed to start.
Yes. I would not be here if not for him.
Okay. So when you opened the office, what kinds of law did you think you would end up practicing the most?
I wanted to be a generalist, for immigrants, for Spanish speakers. And so I thought I'd be doing, some divorces and personal injury. And of course, I described it as a door law. I ended up doing whatever walked in my door. And in those days, I got a lot of criminal defense cases, and we did some personal injury. We did some divorces, did some bankruptcies, did a few wills, things like that.
Okay. What became the most prevalent kind of case that you take?
Oh, and the most prevalent quickly became immigration. And if you recall, 2009, Obama was in the White House. ICE showed up on the scene in a way they had not been here before. And people would go to jail for a minor traffic offense or any criminal offense at all. And ICE would lodge what's called a detainer. They lodge a hold. And so I get all these calls saying, hey, my brother went to jail for driving out a license, and then we paid his bond, but they won't let him go. He has something called an ICE hold. I go, what's that?
What's that?
That was my initial reaction.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to deal with that. And I literally went downtown to the ICE office. I knocked on the door, like, hey guys, I'm Jason. I'm a lawyer. You got a hold of my client. Can we talk about that?
How'd that go?
They were not real receptive.
Okay.
But you do that a couple of times, and eventually they give you a fax number. You start faxing a letter saying, hey, here's my client. You open the channel of communication. You get to know each other. And now ICE will take my phone call and they'll respond to my emails. And I found out the information about my client in order to help them in what we had to do next, which was negotiate a bond with an ICE agent, or if they're denying bond, figure out where the court's going to be, where the court hearing's going to take place, so I can file a bond motion with the judge to get my client released.
Gotcha. And then I could follow them through the whole process.
And then you keep them through the entire immigration court case all the way to the final hearing.
Okay. So you had to essentially educate yourself in this.
I did. And
yeah.
Let's be clear, I don't recommend doing it this way.
Yeah.
Like, you need a good mentor, and Bob was a great mentor for some parts of immigration law, but ICE was new at that time to everybody. So I think a lot of us had to figure it out that way.
Besides, what did we call that? The retainer or a hold?
It's called a detainer, which is a request to a county jail to hold somebody for 48 hours beyond their regular release time so that ICE can come pick them up and start a deportation process.
Got it. Okay. So what other kinds of immigration-related cases did you take on besides those?
Oh, so tons of what we call family-based immigration and humanitarian-based immigration cases. So people marrying someone who's a United States citizen. So maybe you crossed the border illegally from Mexico years ago. Now you're married to a citizen. We start the process to help you get your green card based on marriage. Or it's 21-year-old U.S. citizens applying for mom and dad to get them legal status. We do a visa called a U visa, like the letter U, which is for crime victims who've cooperated in prosecutions. We do lots of Violence Against Women Act petitions, which actually applies to men and women alike, but it's people who've been abused by a citizen or permanent resident spouse.
Oh.
They can petition for themselves.
Someone who's not a citizen is abused by a citizen.
Correct. So the non-citizen's married to the citizen or the permanent resident, and that person is, battering them or subjecting them to cruelty. They can petition for themselves so they're not locked into a terrible abusive relationship for papers.
Okay. Interesting. So my understanding was that the closest immigration court at that time was Chicago?
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
So Chicago was the only immigration court for our state for decades until the Indianapolis Immigration Court opened up in January of 2025.
Right. So how often, let's say how many times a week would you have to go to Chicago?
At least 2 or 3. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a long, it's a long trip, but the trick is you wake up at 5 a.m., you hit the road at 5:30. You avoid most of the traffic until you get right downtown. And then I try to be the first lawyer into the courtroom because there's a sign-in sheet. Whoever signs in first gets the case called up first.
Would you take 8094 or would you take the Skyway?
I take the Skyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So but that's a little more pricey.
Yeah. It was worth it. Save you time. Yeah.
Okay. Right on. What would you do in the car?
Oh man, I listened to NPR on the way up. I'd listen to the radio the whole way. I'd listen to podcasts. I'd listen to books on tape. Yeah.
Okay. How many hours a week were you working in those first several years?
Anywhere from 60 to 80 in the early days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And just to be clear, your wife is at home with a small child.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if I could do this all over again, I would have found some more help sooner in my business because I was more focused on the business in those early days than what I was on being a great husband and father.
Gotcha. Was there a particular case early on where it just became crystal clear to you the kind of difference that you could make in a person's life or a family's life by helping them with immigration issues?
When you win a case in an immigration court for a person who did not have the legal right to be here prior to that court hearing, and you walk out of the courtroom and that person has become a legal permanent resident because they won their case, it's an amazing feeling, Mason. So I'm recalling a particular lady. Her first name was Gladys. And in 2011, I got to be in immigration court in front of then Judge McNulty in Chicago. And we had to prove that Gladys had been here for at least 10 years, that she was a person of good moral character, and that her removal from the United States would cause exceptional and extremely unusual hardships to her children, her U.S. citizens. And Gladys had 4 children. One of them had some medical conditions. And she was terrified of this process. But what was going to happen to her? What was going to happen to her 4 children? Were they going to grow up in the United States without their mother? And to go in the courtroom and have Judge McNulty grant her what's called cancellation removal, which is a permanent residence in the United States, it was amazing. I teared up. I sat there in the chair next to my client, my arm on her shoulder, and she's a little stunned, but I'm the one who's crying. Right? She's hearing it through the interpreter in the courtroom. I'm hearing it in English first. So I'm tearing up, my eyes, and I can tell you, I've been doing this 17 years. When I win a case, I still tear up, man. It's an amazing feeling to win a case for somebody.
How common is it to win a case in immigration court?
Wow. We used to win in the Chicago court, or at least not lose, the majority of the time. Let's say 60% or more. Now we hardly ever win. The courts have changed tremendously as they've fired immigration judges who approve cases. The law hasn't changed in regards to what the statutes say on the books, but there's goals by the administration for how many people should win, regardless of what the law really says. So judges are being terminated because the immigration judges are not Article 3 judges under the Constitution who've been approved by the Senate and given a lifetime appointment. They're employees of the Department of Justice. They can be fired anytime.
Right. How do you prepare your client for that?
It's hard. So we have to have frank discussions and say, guys, listen, times have changed. We're going to go in, we're going to present all of the evidence. We're going to show everything we can about you and your case and your situation, all the facts, all the law. We're going to ask the judge to make a decision based on the law and the facts. They're not always doing that these days. If we don't win, there is a higher court above that one. It's called the Board of Immigration Appeals. Now, they're also part of Department of Justice, can be fired at any time. But above them, there's the United States Court of Appeals. Yeah. And those have real judges appointed for life, confirmed, chosen by a president, confirmed by the United States Senate. Right. And so often the discussion right now is we're preparing your case for the future, for the next court after this court and the court after that, in the hopes that we get a fair result by then.
Wow. So the message really is dig in because this is...
Dig in.
Yes, this isn't the end.
It's a long road. It's a very long road. And you have to keep fighting all the way to the end.
So I'm just assuming that a typical client comes to you, doesn't have a ton of money to defend themselves.
That's right.
How do you do that?
Slowly. So everything we do is a down payment and a monthly payment plan. And so they can pay us off over a couple of years. Now that's getting compressed because judges are speeding up cases. They have productivity goals that have been created for them by the administration. They have to decide a certain number of cases per day. And so the cases are getting compressed. So it makes it harder to get paid sometimes, frankly, because there's less time to pay us. But, many of our clients, especially our asylum seekers, like I take great pride in helping asylum seekers. Like we have clients that are literally have been tortured by the governments. People with fingernails pulled out, people stabbed, shot by their own governments just for speaking up and expressing their dissent in a public place. And so when you win asylum for someone, you feel fantastic once again. But they arrive with nothing.
Right.
And so we have to do payment plans. We want to do payment plans because we can't complete the work all in one day. They shouldn't have to pay us all in one day. It's a process.
Yeah. So you take on an asylum seeker as a client and like you say, they have nothing. And you really don't have any kind of guarantee that they're going to be able to pay you. I mean, do you have to really approach this kind of like a pro bono mindset?
It's not for me a pro bono mindset. It's we'll give them time and they can pay us off over the course of the case. Now, are there times when the case gets compressed to a much faster hearing date than anybody expected? And I have to make a decision. Do I drop this person's case and say, sorry, buddy, you pay me or I can't help you? Or do I say, listen, I believe in this is the right thing to do. I'm going to stand up for what's right. I'm going to go represent you in immigration court and hopefully you pay me later. And we're always going to do that.
And then what's the longest somebody has gone before they finish paying you?
Oh, well, I've got some cases now that it's gone on for a couple of years, but they've paid.
Okay.
They still paid. Yeah.
So now we're going to go backwards in time. Where did you grow up?
Wabash, Indiana.
Okay. What did your folks do?
So my dad was an entrepreneur as well. We had a woodworking facility that made shutter and window blind components out of wood. And we sold those to Hunter Douglas, the big window blind conglomerate.
Yeah.
So that was my dad. My mom stayed home with me and my brother. She was a secretary before we were born.
Okay. What's it like growing up in Wabash? What is that population? About 10,000?
About 10,000. Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, it was a great place to grow up.
Yeah.
I went to Southwood High School, class of 1994. Had great teachers, Mrs. Downey in the English department, Mr. Oglesby in the speech and debate department.
Speech and debate.
That's right.
Gotcha.
Set me up well.
Yeah.
He grew up in Wabash, and at least at the time I was there in the 90s, going to high school, it's all white folks.
Yeah.
Right. We had like the one black family, the one Asian family, the one, family from someplace else. But everyone looks like you. Everyone knows your parents. Everyone knows your grandparents, your aunts and uncles, your siblings. So it's a small town.
Mm-hmm. And so that sparked in you what?
I wanted to get away, Mason.
No kidding.
I wanted to get away and see people who were different.
Yeah.
In fact, we had some foreign exchange students when I was in high school. We had a girl from Colombia. We had a kid from Denmark. I thought they were the coolest people in the world. Like, I want to be your friends.
Mm.
And so, first chance I got, I spent a summer in Mexico in San Luis Potosí, the program through Indiana University. They have an honors program for high school students in foreign languages. So they sent kids to Mexico. Now they go to Spain, I think, France, Germany, for people to study, live with a host family.
Mm-hmm.
And you signed a contract saying, I will speak only this foreign language. If I'm caught speaking English, I'll be immediately expelled and sent home at my own expense. I'm not sure that they really did that to anybody, but I believed it, right?
Yeah.
Sure. So I went to Mexico, had an amazing experience with the host family. I was the adopted gringo, for the summer, and just soaked it up. So the kid from small town Indiana going to San Luis Potosí with 1 million people and getting to see the way other people lived was fantastic.
What were your options in high school? I mean, was it like the typical like French, German, Spanish?
I think the French teacher left after like my sophomore year. So it was like French or Spanish. And then it was only Spanish.
It was Spanish. Okay.
And I should shout out Mrs. Gutzweiler, my Spanish teacher, was a fantastic impact on me. She actually was the one that encouraged me to do the program in Mexico.
Okay. So is Wabash one of those city where when you're like in high school, everybody asks you, so you're going to apply to Wabash, right? Wabash College.
Yeah. It's funny because folks will roll into town on the weekend sometimes and go, hey, which way to the college? And you have to say, well, it's 2.5 hours west. So hop back in your car.
I'm an idiot. So Wabash isn't in Wabash.
Most people don't realize that, but they're
Yeah.
both named for the river. And by the way, I almost went to Wabash College, but went to Butler instead. Met my wife there.
Yeah. Why did you go to Butler?
The big city of Indianapolis was calling me, and it wasn't all male at Butler like Wabash College was.
So tell me if I'm reading this right. You attend Butler University from 94 to 98.
Right.
You receive a bachelor's degree in both international management and Spanish.
Right.
Now that sounds like a guy who wants to be a businessman in a Spanish language country.
Yeah.
So what was the plan?
Well, I wanted to go see the world. Now it turns out when you're 22 and you're fresh out of school, there aren't many companies that say, let's send a 22-year-old brand new graduate overseas.
Yeah.
That wasn't a thing. My first job out of college was working for Butler's study abroad office.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So I was a program coordinator for Latin America. I got to go down a couple times a year, do orientation for U.S. students starting their study abroad in those countries.
Okay. Here's a snippet from your LinkedIn profile that stood out. So from February 2001 to August 2005, you were a manager at Mikado Japanese restaurant.
Yeah.
In downtown Indianapolis.
Yeah.
How did you end up there?
So I told you I worked for my dad's company. I mentioned my dad's company. I went to work for them after I left Butler.
Yeah.
And dad sold the company to Hunter Douglas. And they said, oh, the owner's kid, let's lay him off. So
he probably didn't say that before the deal closed.
Not before the deal closes,
Yeah.
only after. I remember it well because I was about 24 years old. I needed a new job quickly. So I lived in Indy. I went downtown and I went to St. Elmo's. And I went to the Palomino restaurant and I went to a few places and said, can I please be a waiter? I heard, I loved your restaurants. Can I please work here? Mikado was the one that hired me first. And so I began 2 days before Valentine's Day as a busboy. Mm-hmm. I had to call my then girlfriend, who's my now wife, and say, the Valentine dinner I had planned for us on the 14th? I can't make it. I'm going to be a busboy over here on Valentine's Day. Nice. And I worked there for a short time. I became a server. They made me the manager. That was all of hours, but I loved the cuisine. I loved meeting people. The guests were fantastic at the Mikado.
Yeah, 4 years. I mean, that's 4 years, almost 5.
Yeah, I should mention I took a break in the middle. I went to China.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Taught English in Beijing and had a great experience doing that, and then came back to Mikado.
Gotcha. Did your girlfriend/wife go with you?
No, she came to visit while I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously at some point here, you decide, I want to go into the law.
Yeah. I always had the idea of going to law school. So one of my mentors growing up was my soccer coach, who was an attorney named Mark Ginnon. He's still in Wabash, still in practice. He and his daughter, Emily Ginnon Hodson, have a firm. And Mark was so cool. Like, he was a brilliant guy. He had a nice car and he coached soccer. And I'm like, I want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
So I admired him. I knew he was an attorney. And I saw how he was using the law to help people in our town.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to help people in the way that Mark was. And so I always had the idea of I'd go back to law school one day. And so I first applied. I was actually in Beijing. Took the LSAT in Beijing University on a Saturday with a bunch of Chinese students. Did not do wonderfully well. But I applied to some law schools and I didn't get in anywhere. I had a good GPA. I had an okay LSAT score. So I tried again. And I got waitlisted in a few schools and didn't get in anywhere. But on my third attempt, I actually got a job working in the human rights law office with Professor Edwards at the IU Law School downtown.
Okay.
And a buddy of mine introduced me to Dean Tarr at the time. I got a meeting with him. And if at first you don't succeed, try again. And I've got in on my third attempt.
Okay. Great. So you're at Robert McKinney.
At McKinney, I did the evening division. So
Okay.
I worked for Bob Epstein during the day, 9 to 5, went to school at night, 5:30 to 7:30, 8 o'clock, whatever it was, and did that year round for 4 years to get my law degree and my MBA.
Why did you want to get the MBA? Because, I mean, that sounds like too much homework to me.
Yeah. My idea was it would make me a better business owner, and it might make me more attractive to employers if I had the MBA as well.
Okay. Now let's jump forward.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to your law office in the early 2010s. When did you hire your first employee?
We opened the office October 16th, 2009, the day I got my law license. And my first employee was probably early 2011.
Okay.
Took about a year and a half.
And was that an associate or was that?
First, we had someone answer the phones.
Right.
I added an associate attorney shortly thereafter.
Okay. And then kind of slowly over the next few years, you add associates.
Yeah, we added paralegals, we added more associate attorneys. And by around 2015, we had 4 attorneys besides me.
Okay. And then they left.
Yeah. All 4 were left in like 12 months.
Where did they go? Oh, okay. It wasn't all at once. It wasn't
all at once.
Okay.
2 left together and then the next one and the next one.
Okay.
All opened their own law firms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they were inspired by
I think
your
I inspired
example.
them too much that they went off and began to compete.
Okay. Okay. So now you have a lot of support staff in you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so what's the plan from that point?
Well, the plan was I had to replace and I had to add another attorney. God's been good to me. So I put out an ad and a guy named Peter Robbins called from just down the street. As it turned out, we met for dinner and I brought Peter Robbins on as an associate there in 2016.
Okay. And so that you continue to grow.
Yeah, we continue to grow. We moved out of the little shack on West Washington to a bigger office in 2014. So we had just moved office spaces, and what I found was, as I help people, I treated them with dignity and empathy, compassion, respect. I told them the truth. If I can help you, I'll take your case. If I can't, I won't take your case. And then when you do what you say you'll do, I never needed to do any marketing. That was the marketing.
Right.
Happy customers were the best marketing ever. And so you help one person in the Latino community. They've got 17 cousins, Mason. and they're all going to call you because Jose said you're a good lawyer.
Yeah.
And they all come calling. That was the growth. But that growth continued even when I had some associates take off.
Perhaps not coincidentally, so this is about the time that Donald Trump is elected president.
The first time.
Yeah, time for his first term. What impact did the Trump administration's immigration policies have on the flow of clients to you?
It definitely picked up. The first 4 years of Obama, he was trying to catch folks and deport them. The second 4 years
sorry, I missed that.
He was trying to catch undocumented people and deport them.
Okay.
The second 4 years of Obama, it was basically hands off. It was, let's just focus on the bad guys and people that don't have criminal records. Let's leave them alone. So Trump 1 came in and he said, no way. They're all bad guys. There are no good guys. So let's deport them all.
Yeah.
And with that perspective, they went after all the low hanging fruit. Anyone who's driving without a license, anyone that ends up in jail for any reason. We don't care if you didn't do it. We don't care if you're innocent of the crime is charged. If you're in a jail cell and you can't run away from us, you are now priority for deportation.
Right. So the hold is still a bread and butter item for you. But let's jump to just 2025. Do you know how many cases? I mean, about how many cases your office had?
We represent right now about 6,000 people in legal matters.
Annually?
Well, that's the total right now. Some of these cases have been pending for years.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I see. You're currently 6,000 active cases?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, some people have more than one case. They're in court. Maybe they have a petition as well.
Gotcha.
6,000 total legal matters.
Wow. And now the most common kinds of cases would be what?
Man, we still do more immigration court cases, more deportation defense than anything else.
Okay.
The USCIS cases, the family-based petitions, the humanitarian petitions, those
I'm sorry, what does USCIS mean?
It's United States Citizenship and Immigration Services.
Okay.
That's going to be the green card application, citizenship, all the various kinds of visas, work permits. Those are catching up. We're doing more and more of that, but immigration court is still number one.
Okay. So let's talk about some ways you could measure the growth of the firm.
Yeah.
One way is by revenue, the gross amount of money that comes into the front door.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, Flora Legal Group was the third fastest growing firm on IBJ's list of the 25 fastest growing firms in the Indianapolis area. Now that's measured via 3-year revenue growth.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2023, this is me doing math. So you can confirm for me. 2023, the firm had maybe a shade under $5 million in revenue.
I think it was 4.7.
Okay. 2025, it had $12.2 million in revenue. So that is an increase over those 3 years of about 250%. Good for third place on the list.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like on the inside to grow that fast?
Man, it's exciting. It's also can feel chaotic from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing for me, Mason, I had to shift how I worked because I spent 12 or 13 years as I am a lawyer. I lawyer as a lawyer. But as we had all this more demand for our services, I had to put on a different hat and go, listen, I'm actually an entrepreneur who owns a legal services company. My job is to serve people by giving legal services, not just be a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when, in order for us to meet that demand and help all those people, I had to quit trying to do it all myself. I was a bottleneck. So you have to work really, really hard before you can stop working really hard and hire other people to carry out the mission for you and serve more people.
Was that something that you came to by yourself, or were you getting input from inside saying, you know what? You're a bottleneck. And maybe not in so many words.
I was realizing that I was a bottleneck.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can only work so many hours, and then you go but at the same time, I was the fish that didn't know that he was wet.
Yeah.
It had not occurred to me. It was so obvious, but it took me 12 or 13 years to see it. That I was actually, as the owner, I needed to have different responsibilities, do different things than just be the number one lawyer in the firm.
So from an entrepreneur standpoint, what kinds of things did you end up doing?
Well, number one is I began recruiting. I began talking about our mission to serve immigrants, our mission to change people's lives so they can live in the greatest country in the world. And when you begin talking about your mission, what you believe, man, the right people start to come to you. The right mission will attract the right people and it will repel the wrong people. Mm-hmm. And
are you talking in terms of personnel and clients or both?
Both.
Or
both. Yeah. First, our head count now, I had to ask my chief of administration, as of yesterday, it's 137 people.
Good Lord.
And, we had 40 people in 2022.
Yeah.
But who can join us? If you're just looking for a job, I don't want you. If you're looking just for a paycheck, there's a lot of places to go get a paycheck. We have a mission to serve immigrants and serve them well. And people that care about that, I want them in my law firm.
So, okay, you said 137?
Yes.
Okay, we'll call it 140. How many of those are lawyers?
We have 23 lawyers.
Okay. So, oh God, don't make me do this math. It's at least 4-to-1 other personnel to lawyers.
Right.
Now that is not typical for a law firm.
For a law firm, maybe not.
Yeah.
For a law firm, maybe not. For an immigration law firm, paralegals, legal assistants, they do a whole lot of the work. When you go to the hospital, you're seeing the nurses all the time. Doctor comes in and, says, yes, that's correct. We're not so different, right? We as lawyers, we draft a legal plan in the beginning. We create what needs to be done. And there's an army of paralegals and support staff to go carry those plans out. We lawyers come in and sign off once it's ready. We verify it's good to go.
Right. So this kind of law really requires a lot of support for the attorney,
for sure,
who does the higher level stuff. And then there's a lot of follow up.
Correct. Yeah. The attorneys might get the glory, but they shouldn't. I'm telling you, we have amazing support staff, and we could not do what we do without them.
Yeah. As we've been talking, I've been going back through my head saying 4-1. That can't be. It's more than 5-1 of a ratio.
Yeah.
Of your other employees to your attorneys. If you look at IBJ's list of the largest law firms in the Indianapolis area, they're ranked by number of attorneys. So with 23 attorneys, you would not be in the top 20.
No.
Of the largest law firms on IBJ's list. If instead it was ranked by full-time employees, you would be 10th or around 10th.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing a little bit of ballparking here.
Yeah, sure.
But I mean, our research is pretty good.
Okay.
So yeah, just to give them some flowers, what are the roles of all the non-attorneys?
We have a collections team. As I mentioned, we have people paying us on payment plans.
Yeah.
So there's a collections team. We've got around 50 paralegals. We've got legal assistants working underneath the paralegals. We've got our chief of administration. We've got our sales team. We have a marketing team, small one. We have a social media team. So yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming your greatest expense is payroll.
Far and away. Great expenses. Yes, we are. Okay. We are very labor intensive.
Okay. So I'm going to take a little bit of a leap here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a lot of people to pay. So I have to assume that the finances of your firm are different than you would see at most other law firms.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
For sure. We're a flat fee law firm, for one thing. We don't use the billable hour model to get paid. But we have a very high labor, but we have a marketing expense that's basically zero.
Mm.
We go to churches, we go to schools, we speak, we do that for free. You'll never see us on a billboard, TV. We have a little social media presence, but I don't have to pay for marketing right now because when you do a good job and you treat people well and you're passionate about your mission, they'll come to you.
Yeah. Suffice to say, nobody's looking to get rich in this environment.
In fact, if you're looking to get rich, I don't want you in immigration law.
Yeah.
In other words, my philosophy has always been, I want to serve my clients, take care of immigrants. I want to change their lives for the better. And when I do that, I'm going to make money. But profit is not the motive here. Profit is the result of a mission well done and serving people well. And I think if I chase the money, if I chase the profits, I'm going to mistreat the people. I'm not going to do a good job for people if I'm chasing the dollars. I'm chasing the immigrants, not the dollars.
So did the MBA come in handy? Or, I mean, do you feel like,
I gotta be honest,
I remember back in the fourth year, that one class that we had really helped.
I learned so much growing up in my family business.
Yeah.
Working with my father. I learned a lot more from other entrepreneurs than what I learned in business school. That's not to disparage the business school. Far from it. Mm-hmm. It's just that there's so many lessons, so much of business you learn by doing. It's lessons about life. It's not necessarily, how to do the financials. And you have to know all this stuff. You have to know how to read a financial statement. You can learn that in business school. But there's more valuable lessons that you can't get in school.
How have you changed as a manager of people, do you think?
I've learned that if I approach people with gratitude first, I'm going to be a better manager of people. That does not come naturally for me, Mason. I've had to work at it. So we'll have 20 things that have to get done, and we'll get 19 of them done, and one doesn't get done. My first inclination is to go, why didn't that 20th one get done?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying, this is fantastic, guys. You got 19 things done. Way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about number 20.
Yeah.
So that's a lesson I've had to learn.
I was just looking on my feed, one of my social media feeds, which is just filled with business stuff.
Yeah.
And it was one of these public speaking guys, or persuasive speaking guys, who was saying, like, the worst way you can start a sentence with, somebody that works for you, or, somebody you're in a relationship with, is, why didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Because it immediately puts them
on the defensive, and you're casting some blame.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even, why did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've learned, if you want the 19 things to get done, you need to recognize that someone did that,
mm-hmm.
right? That's an accomplishment, because it might go from 19 down to 12 if you're not recognized.
There you go. So you said you moved to a new space. Is that the space that you're currently in?
Yeah, we moved to the Eagle Highlands location in September of 21. So almost 5 years ago.
Okay. And for folks who don't know where that is, well, the Eagle Highlands movie theater is there. It's basically like the 38th Street intersection with 465.
Correct.
On the west side. Yeah. So you're still situated in the west side.
Yes.
And that's still the best place to be.
That's where the immigrants are.
You're within walking distance of Saraga, I think.
We're not far.
Yeah, International Marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still the right place.
There's still tons of immigrant-owned businesses around there. Great food. Every kind of ethnic food you want to find is out there. We went where the immigrants are.
Okay. And you bought this building.
We bought the building, and in fact, I had it under contract in February of 2020, just in time for COVID. I had to back out, and then I was very fortunate that I could reapproach the seller 18 months later and get a slightly better deal on the building.
Mm-hmm. Do you like being the owner of the building? Is that something you would?
I do.
Right.
My law firm pays rent to my holding company for the real estate. I like it.
Okay. One quick question. So, does everyone at your firm need to know how to speak Spanish?
I'm going to say yes. I mean, almost every position involves talking to clients at some point,
right?
Other than maybe our mail clerk. She doesn't speak Spanish, right?
Yeah.
But nearly everyone's bilingual. We have some people that speak more than one language. I have a fantastic lady named Evnik who speaks Haitian Creole, French, Spanish, and English.
Oh, that sounds valuable.
We have a couple of French speakers, Italian speakers. So it's great to be bilingual. Now, our clients are 95% Spanish speakers.
Okay.
So we have a couple of lawyers that don't speak Spanish, but we always look for Spanish speakers.
Okay. Well, I have a suspicion that we're going to see you again on the Fast 25 list. But just in general, I mean, I know we're going to check in at least a year
to see
great.
How
things are going.
I'd love that.
Thank you so much for filling me in.
Thank you, Mason. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Indiana Lawyer Podcast. For more news on what's happening in the legal community across the state, please head over to our website at theindianalawyer.com. There, you'll be able to subscribe to our daily newsletter and find more episodes of this podcast. You can also explore the other podcasts in the IBJ Media Network and check out stories from our sibling publications. And don't forget to follow us on social media.